First with breaking news. First with new information. Plus, your first alert forecast. 19 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
Browns bombshell this afternoon. Myles Garrett has been traded. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Duffy. Nicole Versansky is on assignment. Garrett's going to the Rams, but did the Browns get enough in return for the best defensive player in the NFL, a dominating defensive end who will be a first ballot Hall of Famer? Let's bring in Mark Schwab with the breaking development.
No, they didn't get enough. Let's just make that no, they didn't get enough. Anyway, here we go. Browns win the day as far as moving the needle. I don't think they moved it in the right direction, but make no mistake, it is moving. Trading Garrett to the Rams for Jared Verse, the Rams' first-round pick in 2027, and a little extra that right now sounds like a second and a third. Still slightly unclear on that part. I honestly have no idea why the Browns are doing this. He is signed for 3 more years. So this is not a situation where you just have to do the best you can instead of getting nothing for him. It's not a situation where he has any leverage, unless you actually believe he's going to hold out all season and leave $40 million on the table. It's not a situation where you're getting anything you can point to that solves your quarterback problem. I have no idea how the Browns are getting better here. Now, the Browns had an availability today. They're at their golf outing. Todd Monken did talk. It was before this news broke. He was asked if he was guaranteed Myles would be on the roster this season.
I'm never told who's going to be on the team, who's not going to be on the team, if that's a question. I mean, every day we evaluate the roster. Andrew evaluates the roster. Management evaluates the roster. No matter what any of us coaches sign up for, is we show up every day and we coach the guys that are in the building like we've done since we've been here. That hasn't changed.
All right, so this has not been formally announced by the team yet. They're going to do the physicals and stuff like that. Whenever that happens, I would imagine we will get a chance to talk to Andrew Berry. That should be good. Reporting live, Mark Schwab, 19 News.
All right, we have team coverage today. Dan DeRose joins us now with some of the social media reactions. So, Dan, what are you seeing out there?
I've been kind of surprised. I expected it to be burn down the stadium, Cleveland is done. Now, there is some of that, but I've actually been surprised by some of the optimism. For example, take a look at this from Good Beast. Todd Monken is doing a great job changing the culture in Cleveland. I'm not sure it's Todd Monken's job. I think that's more Andrew Berry. But goes on to say, Myles Garrett was doing a great job destroying the culture. From what I'm seeing from the Rams fan base, Verse is not only a stud, but a perfect teammate and a guy to have in the locker rooms. Brown's future is bright, capital letters. Up now from Big Fella Profits. I look up at the TV and see Myles Garrett in a Rams jersey. Cleveland Browns are a poverty organization. All right, not so positive. Let's end with this from PJ Starlissimo, and he does have he's a Browns fan. Myles Garrett was not my cup of tea, but he was a tremendous football player and a great asset to the city of Cleveland. Thank you for your service, Myles Garrett. And then some of the highlights. So it's been kind of interesting. It's not all doom and gloom. Some people see this as the Browns getting younger, potential to get better in years 2, 3, 4, but that's our story in a nutshell. Brian?
Okay, Dan, well, let's take a look at our poll. 19 News with continuing coverage on the Garrett trade. Ashley Holder joins us at 4:30. Plus, we have the poll. So what do you think of the Garrett trade? Love it. Let's rebuild. It's terrible. I'm done with the Browns. We're going to look at those results coming up at 4:30. I will tell you earlier that it was 84% against earlier on. We'll see if those numbers are changing.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
All right, taking your mind off some football news. How about a beautiful weather day? Here's a look at Conneaut. Blue sky, a little breezy out there as it's been the past few days along the lakeshore. keeping the lakeshore cooler. 70 in Ashtabula, but some 60s here from Cleveland to Lorain, and even Sandusky at 65. You get that northeast wind. Meanwhile, we are in the 70s, well into the 70s, Akron to Worcester, Canton, and right at 70 in New Philadelphia. Some high clouds today has been about the only weather change we've seen compared to the past few days, but still plenty of sunshine out there, and that will continue as we head through the rest of this evening. Temperatures dropping off again overnight. It will be another cool or chilly night as a lot of us do fall down into the 40s. Coming up, I'll talk about the sunny trend. How long is it going to continue? Warmer temperatures on the way, and still looking at some rain this weekend. Timing it out with the latest data coming up in just a bit.
We're surrounded by hundreds of people. Like, you don't expect somebody to just walk up and yank your clothes off.
Fun day at Cedar Point takes a really disturbing turn. Police arrested and tased a man for what he did to a complete stranger. First at 4, Brittany Weir live outside the park. This is really shocking, Brittany. You spoke to a friend of the victim. What did he say?
Yeah, Brian, she said she's still trying to process what happened. It was supposed to be a birthday celebration, a group of friends traveling here to Cedar Point from Michigan for a week of fun. But on that last night at the park, a man came up behind the women and pulled one of the women's skirt and underwear down and then led police on a chase through the parking lot. It was supposed to be the perfect start to a birthday week. April Dempster, who is transgender, says she and her friends were riding Top Thrill 2 on their first night at the park. But as they walked up the midway around 8:30, a man came up from behind, grabbed her friend's skirt and underwear and pulled them down, exposing her genitals to everyone around her, including some children.
As we were heading up the midway, some guy ran by us and just grabbed my friend's skirt from behind and her underwear and yanked it all the way down to her ankles.
April didn't hesitate. She took off running.
I ran from the midway all the way to the front gate, and when I got to the front gate, I saw him and I saw a security officer. So I flagged a security officer while I was running and kept pointing at the guy.
According to the Sandusky police report, the suspect is 18-year-old Marquez Williams. He led officers on a chase through the entire parking lot, weaving between cars as the park was letting out. Officers tased him to get him to stop. Williams was treated at a hospital and then booked into the Erie County Jail. But for April, the arrest wasn't the hardest part. It was watching what the assault did to her friend with days left in their trip.
They were pretty rattled the first couple days after it happened. Like, they didn't even want to go back to Cedar Point. They didn't want to go outside. They didn't want to go have fun anymore. And we were there for the whole week.
April says Cedar Point reached out and was wonderful in their response. Her friend eventually did go back to the park, but it wasn't easy.
And for her to just walk away from the end of the day feeling so violated, I was.
And Williams faces charges of public indecency, disorderly conduct, and obstructing official business. Williams is expected to be back in court on Wednesday morning. Now, we did reach out to Cedar Point and Sandusky police, but we are still waiting to hear back. In Sandusky, Brittany Weir, 19 News.
Okay, Brittany, thank you. Well, also in Sandusky, police investigating a deadly shooting on Pearl Street. The victim's name is not being released at this time. Police identified a suspect, 28-year-old Tyler Cohen. They tracked him down and arrested him. Police say this remains an active investigation. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact them. Now to a 19 crime alert. Take a look at your screen. Canton police are looking for some breaking and entering suspects. Where did they break into? A church, of all places. If you can help track these people down, Canton police would love to hear from you. Well, Iran has suspended talks with the United States in protest of Israel's military action in Lebanon. This is according to Iranian state media. This comes after President Trump this weekend sent back changes to a proposed deal to extend an existing ceasefire. All the while, the two countries continue to trade strikes. Lee Waldman has the very latest.
Iran has suspended talks with the United States in protest over Israel's strikes in Lebanon, semi-official Iranian state media has reported. The Iranian foreign minister posting on social media, a ceasefire between Iran and the United States constitutes without any ambiguity a comprehensive ceasefire across all fronts, including Lebanon. Any violation of the ceasefire on one front shall be considered a violation of it across all fronts.
I think Israel is very intent on making sure that diplomacy between Iran and the U.S. is not fruitful.
The Israeli prime minister instructed the Israeli military to strike a Lebanese suburb that is a Hezbollah stronghold. Those plans were coordinated with the U.S., an Israeli source told CNN. U.S. Central Command said Monday it had successfully intercepted 2 Iranian ballistic missiles targeting American forces based in Kuwait and conducted what it called self-defense strikes on the Iranian military infrastructure over the weekend.
They do have their missile capabilities restored. They are a threat. They still have some air defense capabilities, but they're a bigger threat to our allies.
President Donald Trump had sent back changes to a proposed deal with Iran, officials said, insisting on tougher language about Iran's nuclear commitments and its pledge to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. In a Truth Social post, Trump claimed Iran really wants to make a deal, and it will be a good one for the USA and those that are with us. I'm Lee Waldman reporting.
Gas prices are still damaging budgets across the country, but that said, prices reached a one-month low today. The Ohio and national average of $4.32 per gallon. That's based on oil prices where traders built in the possibility of a deal with Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. But this morning, Iran pulled out of negotiations in protest over Israel's attacks in Lebanon. So oil futures shot up following that news, and prices at the pump, unfortunately, are likely to follow. So we are looking for the best deals, as we do every day for you, around the area with the help of Gas Buddy at $3.85 at the Sheets in Green on East Turkey Foot Road, $3.89 at the Valero in Parma Heights on Pearl Road, and $3.94 at the Sheets in Madison on North Ridge Road. Authorities in Los Angeles say they have a message for would-be criminals ahead of next week's World Cup kickoff. LA District Attorney Nathan Hochman says law enforcement promises to make the games more memorable, enjoyable, and safe. He says, we'll see. Team USA takes on Paraguay at Los Angeles Stadium there on June 12th, first World Cup match on U.S. soil.
You engage in counterfeit goods, hate crimes, violent crimes, DUI offenses, this red card will actually land you in jail. You're not just going to be sitting on the bench watching the games. You'll be watching the games from a jail facility.
Iran's team is playing 2 matches in Los Angeles. The LA sheriff says extra personnel have been assigned for both, and officials will be closely monitoring protests and looking for any what they call concerning activity. Now your top 4 at 4. The Cleveland Browns have traded future Hall of Famer defensive end Myles Garrett to the Rams. For Garrett, the Rams are sending edge Jarrett Verse to the Browns, a 2027 first-round draft pick, a 2028 second-round pick, and a third in 2029. Doesn't sound like that's enough, quite honestly. Garrett joined the Browns in 2017 as the number 1 pick in the first round of the draft. This past season, he broke the NFL single-season sack record with 23, went on to be named AP NFL Defensive Player of the Year for the second year in a row. Police are looking for the driver who hit a 10-year-old boy and left him fighting for his life on Cleveland's east side. Police say the little boy was riding his bike through the intersection of East 131st and Corlett on Saturday evening. Driver ran a green, hit him, and sped off. Cleveland EMS rushed the boy to the hospital in critical condition. In Lorain, the skate world on Erie Avenue is asking if you recognize this white Honda, or maybe even the person there in the passenger seat. They say Friday night around 8, the people inside dropped a dog off behind the skating rink and then just drove away. Skate World says the dog now is so frightened he won't come near anyone. Hasn't been taken in by the shelter. But if you recognize this car or know anything that could help police track these people down, give officers a call. Mom and dad get life sentences in the death of their 11-year-old son. Ara Pugh was tearful as she pleaded for mercy while John Town, right there, just sat emotionless. Then the judge sentenced both of them to 15 years to life. The medical examiner says their son Hunter died in 2024 from, quote, medical neglect. The family was living in an Independence hotel with 5 other kids in what was described as deplorable conditions. A new experimental drug is giving hope to patients battling one of the deadliest cancers. A medication called daraxonrasib is helping pancreatic cancer patients survive nearly twice as long, about 13 months, compared to chemotherapy. It's not a cure, but it works in a targeted way with fewer side effects than chemotherapy.
It was based on the discovery that there was a mutated protein called KRAS that turned on the cancer cells, that it was a cancer-driving type of abnormal protein. And for years, they were looking for a way to sort of turn it off, and they finally figured it out.
One person who's benefiting from this drug is former Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse, whose pancreatic cancer has metastasized. Sasse told CBS News 60 Minutes he considers this treatment a miracle. Back to our breaking news. The Browns have traded Myles Garrett to the Rams. Ashley Holder was at a Browns golf event when word started leaking out. She has reaction from the front office.
The Browns arrived at Firestone Country Club for their 26th annual golf tournament, but the focus quickly shifted away from golf. Head coach Todd Monken was bombarded with questions surrounding Myles Garrett after reports surfaced that the Browns and Rams were in trade discussions.
Not like any other player. I mean, I'm never told who's going to be on the team, who's not going to be on the team. If that's a question, I mean, every day we evaluate the roster. Andrew evaluates the roster. Management evaluates the roster. And like I said, he's no different than any other player we've got. So I don't know how to respond to that based on, because it's really no different today than it's been for the last however many months I've been the head coach.
So Garrett now appears to be headed to Los Angeles to join a Rams squad viewed as a Super Bowl contender. General Manager Andrew Berry briefly addressed reporters saying that the trade is not yet finalized and declined to discuss any specifics until a deal is completed. While the final terms of the deal are still being worked out, reports indicate that the Browns would receive Jared Verse, a 2027 first-round pick, and additional draft compensation in exchange for the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. The Browns have only won 8 games in the last 2 years, and they refuse to say that they're on a trajectory of rebuilding once again. And Myles Garrett has made it clear in the past that he just does not want to do that. And mixed with the fact that the Browns also did not promote former defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, the head coach, could have been the final straw for Garrett. Again, Garrett on his way to Los Angeles to become the newest member of the Rams. For now at the Firestone Country Club, I'm Ashley Holder, 19 News.
So we have a poll on Cleveland19.com. What do you think of the Myles Garrett trade? Love it. Let's rebuild. Terrible. I'm done with the Browns. Here you go. And yeah, it's not looking good right now for the Browns and what people are thinking of this. I can't add. So 30, 44, we got 77, 84 some percent. Over 80% of the people have pitchforks and torches right now as far as the Browns are concerned when it comes to this trade. Not looking good for what Browns fans thinking about what the Browns got or whether they should have even traded Myles Garrett in the first place.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
Now the trade may be shocking. The weather, though, not shocking today. Another nice day over downtown Cleveland. You head a little further south. Got a bit more cloud cover, but that's being picky on what's otherwise a nice weather pattern. North wind at it again, though. That's keeping us in the 60s, both downtown Cleveland and out at Hopkins, 68 there. North wind is 14 miles per hour, and so once again, the lakeshore, we're on the cooler side. It is 70 in Ashtabula, but it's 73 in Akron to Worcester, 72 in Mansfield, and we're right at 70 in New Philadelphia. There's the satellite showing some of those clouds. No rain going to come from it, though. It stays dry as we head through the evening. We'll see the clouds breaking away, and another cool night is upon us where a lot of us will be falling into the 40s as that breeze lessens. And then once we do head through the day tomorrow, the wind does pick up once again. I'll talk about some conditions on Lake Erie. If you're doing any boating this week, we'll have a look at that wave forecast coming up in the next few minutes.
Local judge had to resign from the bench after facing a charge of judicial misconduct. She apologized, took responsibility for her actions, but a judge said she had damaged the public trust. Today, he sent her to the county lockup. Our Harry Boomer is at the Justice Center with the very latest. Harry.
Well, Brian, I'm standing where former Judge Leslie Ann Celebrezze stood when a judge handed down his decision against her. You know, but she did what many defendants don't do. She pleaded guilty. It is rare to have a former judge stand on the other side of the bench. Former Judge Leslie Ann Celebrezze found herself in that situation today.
We stand here today because of my actions only. I apologize, Your Honor. My actions have consequences, and I accept that.
The former Cuyahoga County domestic relations judge pleaded guilty to a tampering with records charge. Prosecutors say she lied on a court document saying she was randomly assigned to a case when she actually assigned it to herself.
So, Your Honor, that being said, there were two conditions with respect to our negotiations. Ms. Celebrezze had to resign from office immediately, which she did, and she had to plead to a felony.
This all started when Celebrezze was accused of having an affair with a court-appointed receiver, Mark Dettori, and then steering business to him. A receiver manages assets in legal cases. Jason Jardine, who was a defendant in the case overseen by Celebrezze, says he was hired as a private investigator to expose the affair.
I'm kind of the one that broke this wide open with the video surveillance of her and the judge kissing, or the judge and Mark Dettori kissing outside the restaurant. Judge Celebrezze and Mark Dettori, the court-appointed receiver, they were lovers. It said it in Supreme Court documents.
I am so generally sorry for what I've done, and whatever Your Honor deems appropriate.
Visiting Judge Mark Wyeth handed down the decision after weighing the evidence against Celebrezze. He said her conduct caused harm to the trust people have in the judiciary.
So the court is first of all going to impose a fine of $10,000 plus the court costs and 60 days in the county jail.
Judge Wyeth says she will not be able to repeat her crime because she has been removed from the bench. She was led out of the courtroom, but the deputies did not put her in handcuffs. She is a registered nurse and says she was most likely to go back to that once she's out in the 60 days. At the Justice Center, I'm Harry Boomer, 19 News.